First, in the 48 hours since ABC announced it was indefinitely suspending late-night host Jimmy Kimmel under pressure from Trump's lackey at the FCC, there has been a ton of outrage to the news from all across the country. Let's start with the people, we knew would have a strong reaction. Like, say, Jimmy Kimmel's peers in late-night comedy. We were all watching this over the last few days.
Well, guys, the big story is that Jimmy Kimmel was suspended by ABC after pressure from the FCC, leaving everyone thinking WTF.
If ABC thinks that this is going to satisfy the regime, they are woefully naive. And clearly, they've never read the children's book, If You Give a Mouse a Kimmel.
May I just say, it is a privilege and an honor to call Jimmy Kimmel my friend, in the same way that it's a privilege and honor to do this show every night. I wake up every day, I count my blessings that I live in a country that at least purports to value freedom of speech, and we're going to keep doing our show the way we've always done it, with enthusiasm and integrity, and I'm... We're going to have a conversation after the show.
My 7-year-old would love that last part, but otherwise, no notes. They did not disappoint, not a single one of them. Now, we also expected there would be a strong reaction from the public and from labor unions representing the entertainment industry, of course. And they didn't disappoint either. Yesterday, protesters showed up in droves. You can see the pictures there on your screen, outside the Los Angeles studios where Kimmel films his show. And today, more protesters showed up outside the New York offices of ABC Disney to demand the network stand up to the mob-like pressure of this administration. Now, all of those responses, using your platform as a late-night host or your right to protest as a citizen, are pretty great examples of how the First Amendment can be marshaled in defense of itself. And in the face of a relentless attack on the freedom of press and the freedom of speech, which is what we're in now, maybe historic attacks on it here in this country, it's heartening to see that kind of reaction from both the people on TV and Americans who watch them. But like I said, impressive as they were, those are in many ways the reactions we expected from the people we expected them from. What we did not necessarily expect today were reactions like this. This is a tweet from the former CEO of the Disney Corporation, Michael Eisner. It reads, quote, "Where has all of the leadership gone? If not for university presidents, law firm managing partners, and corporate chief executives standing up against bullies, who then will step up for the First Amendment?" The suspending indefinitely of Jimmy Kimmel immediately after the chairman of the FCC's aggressive yet hollow threatening of the Disney company is yet another example of out-of-control intimidation. Maybe the Constitution should have said, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, except in one's political or financial self-interest. By the way, for the record, this ex-CEO finds Jimmy Kimmel very talented and funny. Now, there's a history between Michael Eisner and Disney's current CEO, Bob Iger, we're not going to get into tonight. But that kind of unfiltered public outrage from the former top Disney exec was definitely not on my bingo card. I don't know if it was on yours. I mean, especially at a time when we have seen so many C-suite leaders bend the knee to Donald Trump. I also didn't expect this one.
I think it is unbelievably dangerous for government to put itself in the position of saying, we're going to decide what speech we like and what we don't, and we're going to threaten to take you off air if we don't like what you're saying. And it might feel good right now to threaten Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
But when it is used to silence every conservative in America, we will regret it. We should denounce it. It's fine to say what Jimmy Kimmel said was deplorable, it was disgraceful, and he should be off air, but we shouldn't be threatening government power to force him off air. That's a real mistake.
Do not adjust your TV sets. We did choose quite an unflattering photo there, apparently, of Senator Ted Cruz, but that was Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Now, you may not agree with every word of what he said. I don't. But he was very clearly denouncing the Trump administration's crackdown on the First Amendment and calling on others to denounce it as well. And that is not the only surprising response we are getting out of Congress in the wake of Kimmel's suspension. Yesterday, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna demanded that the House Oversight Committee subpoena Trump's FCC chair, Brendan Carr, over the administration's shakedown of media organizations. Take a look at Khanna today and watch how the Republican chair of that committee reacted.
I motion today to subpoena Brendan Carr
and to have him explain to the American people why he's bullying private individuals and private businesses. Mr. Chair, I hope you'll have him come in.
I think we could do that. I
appreciate that, sir.
We could. I don't think the motion's necessary, but I think he would. I'm pretty confident he would be willing to come in to testify. So
thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, I didn't honestly expect that either, exactly. And don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of Republicans out there who are twisting themselves into pretzels to defend Trump's attack on protecting free speech. But a number of them don't seem that eager to get behind him on this one. I mean, maybe it's because they realize that their party has spent the last 4 years, probably even longer, complaining about censorship, decrying so-called cancel culture, and expanding the definition of free speech to include issues like, say, whether or not private social media companies can kick you off their platform, even when you lie about vaccines during the height of a global pandemic. Republicans like Ted Cruz understand that it is the height of hypocrisy for them to now turn around and support a literal government-backed censorship campaign. Now, a few months ago, I would have probably told you not to expect longtime MAGA Republicans to break with Trump in any meaningful way, no matter how much he overreaches, no matter how much that contradicts what he does contradicts their own past positions. And for the most part, MAGA Republicans have stayed in lockstep with Trump, even on some of his most heinous and most absurd decisions. But there is an extent to which some MAGA members realize that they cannot just rev their base up about something and then just drop it as soon as it is inconvenient for Trump, because that's not good for them politically. And that's what it's really about here. And so we have seen rare moments when conservatives decide to break with the president and even stand kind of on the side with Democrats. Now, we don't know if that will happen here in any big number, but we do know it is possible because we are seeing it happen elsewhere. I mean, today the House Oversight Committee met behind closed doors for 6 hours to question Alex Acosta, the prosecutor who gave notorious child sex predator Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal to keep Epstein out of prison. Now, that is the same Alex Acosta who Donald Trump appointed to be his labor secretary during his first administration, after that sweetheart deal was made, by the way. So my guess is Donald Trump isn't exactly thrilled about having Acosta's name back in the news, of course. But the Republican-led Oversight Committee held this deposition anyway. And while Speaker Johnson and the majority of Republicans are still carrying water for Trump over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Republicans like Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene have banded together with Democrats to try and force the release of the Epstein files. And we have now all seen this damning image of what appears to be Trump's signature in the Epstein birthday book, thanks to a Republican subpoena of the Epstein estate. You know, the one with the creepy poem where Donald Trump said the two had certain things in common. There it is on the screen. And though you would be hard-pressed to find a Republican willing to admit that that is Trump's signature, which obviously it is, they have not given in to his demands to stop investigating this issue. They know they cannot tell their base that they have completely given up on this. That's what this is about.